The most dangerous thing Shanann Watts ever did was walk through her own front door. In a crime built on betrayal, the people who die don't get to fight back because they never see the weapon. And as Chris Watts stood before the world, he didn't look nervous, angry, or panicked. He looked calm, and that is what should have terrified everyone. Stay with us as we reveal how that calm became a mask for one of the most devastating acts of deception in modern true crime, and how a man trusted by everyone used that trust to destroy the people closest to him.
Like when I got home yesterday, it was like a ghost town. Like she wasn't here, kids weren't here. I have no idea like where they went. If she's vanished, like I want her back so bad. I want those kids back so bad.
In August 2018, in Frederick, Colorado, Chris Watts told the world his pregnant wife, Shanann, and their two young daughters, Bella and Celeste, had simply vanished. He pleaded on television for their safe return, standing in his driveway like a worried husband and father.
I hope that she's somewhere safe right now and with the kids.
But behind that carefully controlled calm was a horrifying truth. The family he claimed to be searching for had already been murdered by the very man asking for their help. What followed was a rapid unraveling. Surveillance footage, text messages, and a shifting story that exposed not a crime of passion, but a crime of calculation. This was not a killer who lost control. This was a man who used routine, intimacy, and trust as the tools of murder. And it is from that lens, trust given, trust betrayed, and deception perfected, that we begin to examine the Chris Watts case. He wasn't a monster from a fable. He was a neighbor, a coworker, a guy who waved from the driveway.
He never talks. So the fact that he's over here blabbing his mouth makes me kind of suspicious.
The central, terrifying question of this case isn't how could he do it, but how could he be him? How does the man who changes diapers become the man who discards them? That question, how a father becomes a destroyer, hangs in the silence he created. To answer it, we must step back from the horror of that Monday morning and trace the slow, methodical corrosion of the Watts family. Not through a sudden act of violence, but through 1,000 small, secret betrayals.
Hi. It's me. I miss your face. I was just calling to say hi.
In the months leading to the murders, Chris Watts was building a new life. Brick by brick, lie by lie. While publicly performing as a devoted husband, he was privately dismantling his family's future. His greatest deception wasn't a single story told to police. It was the parallel existence he nurtured in the shadows. This double life required a new language, a language of omission, of cold pragmatism, and of rehearsed affection. He began to translate the profound bonds of family into a list of burdens to be shed. The ultimate violation was not just of the body, but of the narrative. He wasn't just killing his family. He was attempting to erase the story of their love and replace it with a story of his discontent. He sought to turn the victim into the villain. And in his final, chilling performance for the television cameras, we see the mask fully formed. Not the mask of a grieving man, but the mask of a man trying to look like he should be grieving. It was a performance built on a fundamental misunderstanding of what human emotion actually looks like. He had perfected the deception for his secret life. He had rehearsed the lies for the police. But the one role he could not study for, the one he failed to understand, was that of a truly broken man. That failure would be his undoing. Because in the end, the digital world he and Shanann had built, a world of doorbell cameras, GPS coordinates, and text message receipts, became an impartial witness. It held a mirror up to his two realities, and the reflection was impossible to reconcile. In our next episode, The Unraveling, we follow the 72 hours where a man's calculated facade met the relentless, data-driven scrutiny of a digital age. We'll watch as the tools of modern life, tools of connection and convenience, become an inescapable web of evidence, trapping a killer in the story he tried so hard to destroy.
All right, you ready?
Do it.
Okay, stay still. Do you know where Shanann is now?
No.
Did you physically cause Shanann's disappearance?
No.
Are you lying about the last time you saw Shanann?
No.
The door to the interrogation room closed, leaving Chris Watts alone with his story. But the story was changing. The calm facade, which had held for the television cameras and the first gentle questions, was now being probed by the relentless pressure of a single, inescapable fact: data doesn't lie. In that room, under the cool gaze of investigators, Chris Watts faced a confrontation more terrifying than any weapon: the confrontation between his narrative and the truth.
You can tell that there's just something you're not telling me. And I'm not sure what it is. I don't know why that is. I don't know why you're not telling me, but there's something that's making you a little bit uncomfortable tonight. I just don't believe some of the things you're telling me. Okay, I just don't. I simply do not believe you. Why didn't you call 911? I didn't think anything was wrong.
Holding this lie in is going to do nothing for you.
I know this. Like,
Okay.
I'm not, like, trying to, like, cover things up, like...
Yeah, but you kind of are, because it's normal. Normal people would do that. Normal people that make a mistake initially are going to go, I don't know what you're talking about, I didn't do anything. That's normal. I would expect that.
And one by one, the pillars of his deception began to crumble.
What happened or anything, or you know anything about... When we had that conversation that morning, it was... You know, it was emotional, it was... Told her about separation and everything like that. Mm-hmm. What happened after that? I mean, I went downstairs and... I don't want to protect her. What? I don't want to protect her. You don't want to protect her? I don't know what else to say. What happened? Huh? She hurt him? Yeah. And then I freaked out. What now? I freaked out and I hurt her. You hurt her? Did they leave after that for a long time? So she started hurting the kids. They were... Tell me, you guys, what happened? What? She smelled it. Or choking. No. I didn't hear anything. When I was downstairs, I came back up and they were gone.
You lost it and choke her or...
Mm-hmm. That's just rage. I hadn't... The babies are gone. And I put my hands around my wife's neck and did that same thing.
The man who had weaponized trust now found himself with nothing to hide behind. The final, grotesque confession he offered, a story of a snapped rage, of a wife killing children, was itself a last, desperate act of betrayal. An attempt to paint Shanann as a monster, to salvage a shred of his own distorted self-image as a good man, pushed too far. But forensics are the ultimate arbiters. They speak for those who cannot. And what they said dismantled his final, malicious fiction. Confronted with the irrefutable, the last mask fell. In a subsequent prison interview, the why remained elusive, a hollow space where a soul should have been. But the how became clear. This was a logistical problem he had solved. A disposal. The ultimate, final act of treating his family not as people, but as objects in the way of his new life. So where does that leave us? Not with a satisfying monster, but with a terrifying void. The story of Chris Watts is not a love story gone wrong. It is the story of love and loyalty being systematically erased, replaced by a cold, selfish calculation. The weapon was not rage. It was apathy. The violation was not just of their bodies, but of their very meaning in his world. His greatest deception was the belief that he could contain the truth, that he could bury it in a shallow grave or sink it in an oil tank and simply walk into a new story. But the truth is a ghost. It lingers in text messages, in data packets, in the memory of a neighbor's camera. It whispers from an empty house. In the end, the legacy of this betrayal is a warning written not in blood, but in data. A warning that the most dangerous deception isn't the lie told in panic. It's the lie lived every day. The lie that the people who trust us are safe from the people we become.
My daddy is a hero. He helps me grow up strong. He helped me snuggle too. He reads me books. He ties my shoes. If you're a hero, blue and blue, my daddy, I love you.
The story is over. The echo remains. Cases like this don't end when the cameras stop rolling. They stay with the people who lived them, and with those still searching for answers. If something in this story stood out to you, share in the comments. Liking this video helps keep stories like this from fading away. And if you want more carefully researched crime stories, this is Dark Tapes. Subscribe.